was your biggest challenge in taking the pre-existing Maelstrom attraction and turning it into Frozen Ever After?
Um, Really, it was kind of thinking about how do we tell that story within that space, and it all started with Let It Go. It's the most iconic moment of the film, really, and so how do you work with that in it? And so that was our starting point for the whole ride, and knowing where we wanted to put that, and then fleshing out that story around that moment to kind of give a reason as she does her ice magic and she's kind of sending you through the castle or palace rather. That becomes a key part, and that's what everything came from.
So you kind of started in the middle of the attraction, worked your way out.
Yeah, which doesn't sound logical. It isn't always how is it done, but that was what provided it for us there. We knew we wanted that moment, and then that started leading us to let's look at the story a little bit differently. Let's do this happily ever after story. It takes place about a year after the film, and so we could really celebrate everything that was Frozen, but do it in a new way with new takes on the music and songs, but give all those same moments that people love.
From those initial storyboards you showed us till when it was installed and open to the guests, how long was that?
Well, as the film was coming out, it really started to serve as inspiration for us, and the blockbuster that it became. You can never fully predict those things, so that's when we really started looking at things and started bringing it to life within WDI and start thinking, what do we do? How do we do this? And that is where we got Frozen Ever After and also the Royal Summer House, and trying to give Anna and Elsa that home they deserve here at Walt Disney World.
And I was curious when I saw Frozen how similar the Stave Church in the area looked to the Norway Pavilion. Did that influence the movie as you've talked with animators
It
over
did. We did not realize how much Norway actually did influence the film. They'd said they'd done a trip and been part of it, but we thought, okay, you did some stuff. We were lucky enough to do almost the same itinerary that they did. And as we toured around, as you saw in some of those photos, it was almost exact type of recreations, and everything's from there's a church in Balestrand, Norway, St. Olaf's Church, that was inspiration for where Elsa has her coronation scene, and that whole look then served as some inspiration for us for when you exit out into the gift shop area. The teals and the wood colors, that started serving inspiration for there. So we really tried to go back and forth to that original location and original spot, but also see if it tied into the film.
If you could explain the progression of the area again, the different areas where they represent and how it all ties together.
So that was a big thing for us too. The pavilion had always represented a couple different areas, but you have the Akershus, which is the castle in Oslo, so you have a little bit more city formal setting, and then you go around the corner, and now our entrance to Frozen Ever After and the buildings to the left, which is some of the gift shops, the Fjording is the shop's name. That is all Bergen, an old Briggen, which is a World Heritage Site and an old location in Bergen, and those orange and red buildings. But our facade and our front entrance for Frozen Ever After is another building that's probably about 200 yards down from Old Briggen, and so that served as an inspiration for us there. But those are both kind of city-town type environments. The Stave Church starts to go a little more countryside, but that one is actually located in Oslo currently. And we wanted to go more countryside. It helped with our story of Anna and Elsa and their summer cabin, but this also then gave us another interpretation of Norway as a culture. And so going up to Trondheim and Oppdal, where the cabin was originally built, provided us that. So just a different visual aesthetic, a different cultural story, and different physical representation.
Can you talk about the all-electric animatronics and advantages, perhaps a challenge, and an example of something you could not have done before, old school that we see?
Yes. So one of the great advantages is the speed and fluidity that comes with it, and you get a very consistent and regular show. And so something like Elsa's arm movements and how close she can come together and move and fast, you would not be able to do in the past. So she kind of flings her arms together and out. We just could not have done that as consistently and really is what we have today. And so when we started doing some tests and some R&D work on that, it was really exciting and promising to us. So we knew we had something there and wanted to keep going with it to what you saw today and you see at Epcot.
When it first opened, it had a line for it that extended 5 hours long. Were you all expecting the reaction that you got?
You always hope for that, but we were out there ourselves, so excited to see that. We were out taking pictures and filming ourselves and kind of pinching ourselves, because you get, as anyone knows, I'm sure all of you guys know too, you get kind of wrapped up in doing your day-to-days, and we were building the project, and so as we stepped back and got to see everyone enjoy it and be part of it, it was really humbling and exciting to see that excitement that was there opening day. Kind of gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
The rock work in front of the summer house you were describing, is that being from Maelstrom or inspired by Maelstrom, or some of each?
It's a little bit of both, actually. So we were able to take some of the rune stones that we had inside the Viking scene and older, that's more Viking age, and there's actually some pre-Viking age carvings that were at the beginning of the lift hill, and take a lot of those patterns and designs and put those on our rune stones outside. So if any pictures, videos you see of old ride, you can maybe spot some of those comparisons there. And then inspiration from Maelstrom created the writing that was on the one that I showed in the presentation.
And I think we're probably gonna ask the same one.
I don't know.
Was there anything else from Maelstrom that transferred over to Frozen Ever After?
So our little puffins are something that's come over. And then we have over at the Royal Summer House a tapestry that is inspired by that Jason Grant actually designed for us. And so that really pays tribute to everything that was in that ride, and something that was fun for us, but fit also the look and the design of the tapestries that came straight out of the film. Yeah.
Now, I know in the beginning, I was there opening day, and then went about a month later, and there were more enhancements that had taken place since the very beginning. Are there more tweaks and enhancements underway, or are you all pretty happy now with
We're
where
pretty
things
happy
are?
where things are right now.
Okay.
Like anything, you'll continue to see little tweaks and adjustments, but we're pretty set with what we have there and happy with it. Yeah.
And when you were talking about the electronic audio animatronics, is that a projection on Elsa's face?
So,
Like the Seven Dwarfs almost?
so very similar to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but this is just one other method to bring them to life and have the characters come to life. So that was a perfect example for Anna and Elsa, and feel like they're right out of the movie here. But yeah, all electric figures. Yeah.
And is that going to be the new WDI standard moving forward, or is it something you guys are kind of still playing with, the electric figures?
Every project has different requirements and needs, and so I think we'll take it on a case-by-case basis. But this definitely kind of represents where we'd like to go and continue to see. And personally, I would love to do that on any other projects that I'm lucky enough to build audio animatronics for.
They look amazing.
They do.
Watching that, and then kind of comparing it to the Wicked Witch, which was always the gold standard in Great Movie Ride, watching the movements is so fluid for Anna and Elsa compared to that, which is still amazing.
Yeah, when we first were watching them and we were building them, we thought that it looked like someone was in costume doing it. When we saw videos, if you didn't see it in person, it's still in person is amazing, but if you saw a video, you thought, is there someone in that, or is that actually an audio animatronic figure? So that was, we thought we'd kind of pass the test if we were questioning if it was a person or not.
I was curious about the facade. One of the last things I was passing by many times as it was being built, and one of the last things installed is that little representation of Hans, I think it is, on the outside, and was wondering if that was inspired by something in Norway, or there's...
So yes, we have a little nod to Christoph out in front
Oh,
of
it's
the...
Christoph,
Yeah,
yes.
on top. So he has his little ice carving tools, and it talks about Brigand Street. I'm going to butcher the word, but cold storage. I'm going to say the English version. And so it kind of nods to what's inside, but there is sculptures and carvings in Old Brigand that look exactly like that, with the little man with his little axe, and so pulled references from that.
So buildings of that sort in Norway
Yes.
inspire that.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that separate and apart from the whole Norway issue, I thought the attraction was unbelievable. Everybody on my boat opening day cheered and clapped, and it's a feel-good, and you want to ride it again, and it brought back got very excited about the possibilities of the future, and you all did a marvelous job.
I appreciate
You really
that.
did.
I mean, we wanted to create something that was really felt new and exciting, but was the classic Disney ride and just fun. And I think we see that too with guests that ride it and sing along.
Exactly.
And so it's fun for us to know that you're recognizing that and seeing that as well. So appreciate it.
Is this one of the quickest turnarounds from film to attraction that's been done? In I know last time I can remember something that's that quick was the Tarzan's Treehouse. It was almost opening day, but this was 2 years, a year and a half.
We were pretty soon after the film came out. We like to joke that a little faster than the last big attraction, a Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Snow White, a little different than that. So.
Yeah, it's definitely great. One of the things that I love is the PhotoPass implementation into it that most people still don't know where it is, and seeing the pictures my friends take of they're like this or pointing or like, and seeing those photos, it's amazing.
Yeah. So we thought, yeah, that flash goes off, and you have fireworks that go off as well, all right there together. So works.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
all.